This is my shed. You'd think by the size of it, it's only 10 square metres, it would only be used for miniature furniture, but in fact I make a lot of full-size furniture in here. The main governing thing is the height, so I can't do anything above about 6 feet. But I have the normal array of tools, the saw bench, 10-inch saw bench, which I use a lot, a belt sander, a router, and I do have a router table for that as well, so I can use it as a spindle moulder, a Dremel, heat gun, skill saw, that sort of thing. But I also have a lathe, which I use for full size and miniature turning, and I have a thicknesser, 12-inch thicknesser. I also have a scroll saw and a drill press, and I use them all quite a bit. And then a normal array of hand tools, both sides. So I get a lot done here. The problem with the small shed, every time you use something, particularly things like the thicknesser, I have to get out, put it on top of a bench, and when I've finished, put it away, so I can use the skill saw, and then I have to get it out again next time I use it. But it's worth it. I've got all the time in the world, so I can use it. When I first came to New Zealand in 1974, I arrived with very little money and no furniture for my flat. So that was my first go, if you like, at making furniture. Tables, that sort of thing. Tables, bookshelves, cupboards. And then I moved to Christchurch, and we lived on a 10-acre block. And again, it had 5 bedrooms, and I had to make a lot of furniture for all sorts of furniture, chests, cupboards, more tables, kitchen, and that got me into, and we extended the house an awful lot too, or I did. So I did an awful lot of woodwork, but not necessarily miniature work. I really started miniature work after my father came to visit us in New Zealand for 3 months. I think he got a bit bored, and he made a doll's house for my 2 girls. And that got me interested. He made the carcass and I made the miniature furniture. Since then we've made 2 more houses, a 3rd one on the go, and I enjoy it, I really do. I can do it when I want, there's no rush for it, but the finished product is what I'm quite proud of. If I'm not proud of it, it goes straight in the bin. But it's a hobby that has results. I do it mainly in the winter when I can't go fishing or boating, and being able to come into the shed, put the heater on, put the lights on, it's quite a cave for me, and I do thoroughly enjoy it. I haven't yet had any accidents, because making miniature furniture you do have to throw away a few guards on machines, but I haven't had any accidents whatsoever. Maybe I've been lucky, maybe I've been very careful. But once again, the enjoyment out of it and the pride of finishing these objects well is what I enjoy. I also still make full-size furniture. I made several tables. I made corner cupboards. I've made a lot of coffee tables for my children, and bookcases and things like that for their houses. And so I'm still quite useful to them, and quite useful to my wife too, because I make quite a few things here still too. So I enjoy it. I hope you got a bit from seeing what I do.
My dad made me a doll's house when I was probably 10, and I started making things for that, and I have always loved making things. So when we redeveloped our interest in the doll's houses, you need the extra bits. The furniture is one thing, it looks lovely, but it needs the vase of flowers, it needs the photo frame, it needs the little tiny bottles of wine. All the extra little accoutrements really give it the scale and the personality And that's the thing that I really enjoy doing, is working out how to make the stuff. Internet's a great thing for that, lots of tutorials and patterns and things, and just trying to make them look as realistic as possible. Getting the scale right is one thing, but it's getting all those little details, getting the labels, getting the tassels on the little couch, putting the photos in the frames. Using the computer for that is a fantastic thing. I've also just recently bought myself a Cricut maker, which is a fantastic machine, and it is very accurate. I can cut all sorts of things. I've made little framed butterflies in cases, which I can print and cut on the Cricut, and then cut the frames the right size. Absolutely accurate. So I'm enjoying using that. I enjoy doing the needlecraft things, the sewing, the knitting. Not so much on the knitting these days, a bit too slow really. I like something a bit faster. But doing the stitching, I've made little clothes and things which are mostly glued together rather than stitch, but just providing all those wee details really. I've made a little armchair, which is all the wine bottles back in the wine crate, all glued together. Glue is your friend. Use a lot of glue, so that just needs its piping put on, which again is glued. That's not completely to scale, but it's just a wee practice piece, so just to see how it comes up. Using all the little bits and bobs that you look differently at stuff when you're doing this sort of thing. You look at the bits of jewellery and the beads and the sequins and all the bits and pieces, and you see in them not a jewellery finding but a little holder for a candle, or the base of a stand for a candle, a candelabra or something. So putting those sorts of things together, very enjoyable. And I find just little bits and bobs, and you look at it and think, what could I do with that? What could that be? What could I make that into? It makes you look at things in quite a different way. The tools are pretty minimal, and the materials, again, apart from little bits and pieces, I use a lot of card. Not so much wood, I leave that to Peter, but the card I find very useful. You then have to of course paint it, but you can make just about anything. There are some lovely techniques for coating card with super glue and then dipping it in baking soda, and it makes it set really hard, and it makes it go like, I don't know, granite. This little wheelbarrow is made with that technique, and it even made a little working wheel on it, and that's just layers of card, a couple of layers stuck together and coated with the super glue and sprinkled with baking soda, and it's gone as tough as iron, very solid. So all those little techniques that you pick up, you can make something basically out of nothing.